Welcome to Thoughts and Paws, the podcast where we explore the surprising life lessons our canine companions can teach us. I'm your host, Madison, and today we're diving into a fascinating question. Could dogs be the ultimate life coaches?
Hey there, Madison. I'm Jason, your co-host, and I have to say, this idea sounds a bit barking mad at first. Are furry friends as life coaches? Really?
I know it might seem unexpected, Jason, but hear me out. Our dogs might just hold the secret to boosting our self-confidence and finding true happiness. In each episode of Thoughts and Paws, we'll uncover the wisdom hidden in those wagging tails and wet noses and discover how we can apply it to our own lives.
All right, you've piqued my interest. So, what led you to this unusual insight?
It all started with a newly adopted dog's experience at a local dog park. This pup, let's call them Luna, had just found their forever home and was trying to figure out how to fit in and be good.
I can see how that might parallel our human experiences. So, how did Luna approach this transition?
Well, initially, Luna followed the traditional wisdom we often hear about happiness and success. Wake up early, follow a strict routine, and never deviate from the plan. In dog terms, it was all about obedience and following the rules to be a good girl.
Oh, that sounds exhausting. Did this approach work out for Luna?
Not at all. Luna tried this approach, determined to boost their self-confidence through perfect obedience. But the results were disastrous. They felt disconnected from their family and even from themselves. Their tail stopped wagging with its natural enthusiasm.
That's heartbreaking. It's like Luna lost their spark in trying to fit in. I'm sure many of our listeners can relate to that feeling.
Absolutely. It's a common trap we fall into as humans, too. We often try so hard to follow the rules for happiness that we lose sight of what actually makes us happy. But here's where the story takes an interesting turn.
Oh, I'm all ears. What happened next?
Luna realized they needed to find a better way, and that's when they encountered Bear, a 7-year-old golden retriever, at a dog park meetup. Bear's message was revolutionary. He introduced the concept of two fundamental modes of living, training school mode and pupper mode.
Training school mode and pupper mode? Those sound intriguing. Can you break those down for us?
Of course, training school mode is all about following prescribed rules and suppressing your natural instincts. It's that rigid, by-the-book approach Luna initially tried. Pupper mode, on the other hand, is about leading with authenticity while respecting boundaries.
Well, pupper mode definitely sounds more appealing. How did Luna implement this new approach?
Luna started studying their cousin Bella, who seemed to have mastered the art of being happy while maintaining her authentic puppy energy. They even looked into the latest thinking at D Combinator. Think Y Combinator, but for dogs.
D Combinator? That's hilarious. I love the idea of a startup incubator for dogs. So, what were some of the strategies Luna learned?
One of my favorites is what they call strategic Zoom bombing. Instead of staying out of their humans' video calls as initially suggested, Luna started making carefully timed appearances. And guess what? It actually boosted team morale by 147%.
That's incredible. I can totally see how a cute dog popping into a video call would brighten everyone's day. What other strategies did Luna discover?
Another great one was couch diplomacy. The furniture was supposedly off limits, but Luna's strategic deployment of sad puppy eyes revolutionized the living room seating arrangements. It's a great lesson in negotiating boundaries while staying true to yourself.
Oh, those sad puppy eyes are lethal. I've definitely fallen victim to them before. Any other strategies we should know about?
Yes, there's also authentic expression. Instead of suppressing their excitement when friends visit, Luna learned to channel it into acceptable forms of greeting. The result? Everyone feels genuinely welcomed, and Luna doesn't have to pretend to be someone they're not.
These are all fantastic strategies. But I'm curious, how can our human listeners apply these dog-inspired lessons to their own lives?
Great question. One key takeaway is to maintain your zoomies, those moments of pure, unfiltered happiness that make life worth living. Never let anyone tell you that unbridled joy is unprofessional or inappropriate.
I love that idea. We could all use more zoomies in our lives. What other lessons can we learn from our furry friends?
Another important lesson is to practice strategic vulnerability. When you need support, don't hide it. A gentle gesture or honest communication can convey more than hours of stoic silence. We often think we need to put on a brave face all the time, but allowing ourselves to be vulnerable can actually strengthen our relationships and boost our self esteem.
That's so true. It's easy to forget that showing vulnerability can be a strength, not a weakness. Any other insights we can glean from this canine wisdom?
Absolutely. The final key lesson is to create your own rules. While respecting essential boundaries, find ways to make spaces and situations work for your authentic self. It's about finding that sweet spot between structure and authenticity, between respecting boundaries and expressing our true selves.
These are all such valuable insights. It's amazing how much we can learn from our canine companions when we really pay attention. Do you think there's a broader lesson here about how we approach happiness and self-esteem?
Definitely. I think the most important takeaway is that we're not just participants in life. We're active creators of our own happiness. As Bear would say, if he could speak human, it's about wagging your own tail, not just when you're told to.
I love that. Wag your own tail. It's such a simple but powerful reminder to stay true to ourselves. How do you think this applies to different aspects of our lives?
Well, think about it in terms of our work lives. How often do we suppress our natural enthusiasm or creativity because we think it's not professional enough? Or in our relationships, where we might hold back parts of ourselves for fear of judgment?
That's a great point, and it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to fit into someone else's mold of what we should be. So, how can we start embracing our inner puppy, so to speak?
I think it starts with small steps. Maybe it's allowing yourself to get excited about a project at work, even if others might think it's silly. Or expressing your affection for a friend or partner in a way that feels natural to you rather than what you think you're supposed to do.
Those are great suggestions. It's about finding those moments where we can let our authentic selves shine through, right?
Exactly. And remember, just like how Luna's Zoom bombing ended up boosting team morale, our authentic expressions of self can often have unexpected positive impacts on those around us.
That's so true. Like, I'm thinking about times when someone's genuine enthusiasm or vulnerability has brightened my day or made me feel more connected. It really does make a difference.
Absolutely. And I think that's the real power of this dog inspired wisdom. It's not just about feeling better about ourselves, but about creating a ripple effect of positivity and authenticity in our communities.
I love that perspective. It's like we're all part of this big, interconnected web of relationships. And by being true to ourselves, we're actually contributing to the overall health and happiness of that web.
Beautifully put. And it's a reminder that our actions, no matter how small they might seem, can have a big impact. Just like how a dog's wagging tail can instantly lift the mood of a room.
Speaking of which, I'm curious about the science behind why dogs seem to have such a positive effect on our moods. Is there any research on this?
Actually, there is. Studies have shown that interacting with dogs can increase levels of oxytocin, often called the love hormone, in both humans and dogs. This hormone is associated with bonding, trust, and feelings of well being.
That's fascinating. So, in a way, dogs are like natural mood boosters. No wonder they're so good at teaching us about happiness and self esteem.
Exactly. And it's not just about the biochemical effects. Dogs also model behaviors that can be really beneficial for our mental health. They live in the moment, they're not afraid to show affection, and they're incredibly resilient.
Those are all great qualities to emulate. It's making me think about how I can bring more of that dog energy into my own life. Do you have any practical tips for our listeners who want to start embracing their inner puppy?
Absolutely. One simple practice is to start each day with a moment of excitement or gratitude. Just like how dogs greet each morning with enthusiasm, we can take a moment to appreciate the new day and the possibilities it brings.
That's a great idea. I can see how that could really set a positive tone for the day. Any other suggestions?
Another tip is to practice forgiveness, both of others and yourself. Dogs don't hold grudges and they're quick to let go of negative experiences. We could all benefit from being a little more forgiving and moving on from setbacks more easily.
Those are fantastic suggestions. It's amazing how much we can learn from these simple observations of dog behavior. Is there anything else you think our listeners should keep in mind as they try to apply these lessons. And
I think the most important thing to remember is that this isn't about trying to be perfect or following a new set of rigid rules. It's about embracing your authentic self and finding joy in the simple things in life. It's about wagging your own tail, not just when you're told to.
that's a beautiful way to sum it up. And I think it's a message that a lot of our listeners will find really inspiring. Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts on what we've learned today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that true happiness and self confidence come from being authentically ourselves, not from rigidly following someone else's rules. It's about finding that balance between respecting boundaries and expressing our true nature. And remember, you're not just a participant in life, you're a founding member of your own story. So go out there and wag your own tail.
That's a powerful message, Madison. It's amazing how much we can learn from our furry friends. They truly have a way of reminding us what's important in life.
Absolutely, Jason. And as we wrap up today's episode, I want to encourage our listeners to take these lessons to heart. Whether you're a dog person, a cat person, or any other kind of person, stay curious, stay authentic, and don't forget to show appreciation for the loved ones in your life, both human and furry.
Well said, Madison. And to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep wagging those tails, spreading joy, and embracing the wisdom of our four-legged friends. This has been Thoughts and Paws, and we can't wait to explore more with you in our next episode.